All right, everyone. Let's do a quick. Let's do some make some a little bit more progress on our um, project here. So I like the idea of doing our service logic today. So yesterday we worked on our command or our entry point stuff. So more, well, we expanded like the kind of the flow. So in our shortened URL, we'll actually decode all this stuff. So yeah, so all they have to do is make a post request to shorten, and we'll marshal it. And of course, I'm pretty strict with here. I want disallow unknown field. This is the useful part here. That helps us get us where we want to be. So, anyways, obviously in the body we'll be sending JSON only, and yeah, pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna write a very naive version of our service. Also, a next project I want to build is like a scanner type of thing. So okay, this is a separate project, but it's just like a QR code that it's just basically like auth but with a QR code. So obviously sign in, sign up, and then you can use it's like two auth basically, or OAuth from kind of scratch. I don't want to make it not necessarily fully scratch, but regardless, that's another project I'll have because I feel like I can wrap this project up relatively soon, probably the end of this week. So yeah. So let's actually make this. So let me brainstorm real quick. It's not very complicated, but this helps me with the idea here. So I basically just want a URL, right? And then generate a code. That's it. Nothing really fancy, to be honest. Yeah, I honestly, I don't see what else I can think about. Yeah, so we'll call a shortener service. So we'll do right. Um, and we'll also make some methods associated. Well, first I'm gonna make. We'll do func new um, which I just need the string of the URL, and I will also just want the shortener, or we'll do string, or actually, okay, we just have a shortener here with a URL. Right, and this new function which returns a pointer. Pretty straightforward in my opinion. Oops. I'm gonna make some helper functions, some functions attached to this. So we'll do okay. So we have a shortener. We'll also have, okay, so what method should I have for this? Maybe a get, delete, or generate and store. So get takes in some kind of short code, right? So let me write that down real quick. So we'll have to make a few things here, right? Methods to have. So get a short code, right, and a long code, or not long code, but do a delete of the short code. Yep. Then we'll do generate based off the long, and then we'll do store, which takes in a shortened code. Now I think the generate should store automatically as well. This will generate and store the long to short. Pretty much it. Get, delete, generate. So yeah, let's just do that. Let's just do a get here, which takes in a short code of type string. It honestly just returns of course, a string. Let's turn that for now. And then we'll also get here, I'll delete here. We'll do a generate. I think the generate is more important. So let's do that here. So generate, all of them will honestly, I feel like it's supposed to return me more than that. Let me see at the let's see what they like to return here. yeah, the short code, I guess. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So I should honestly have this shape of data. So the ID. Well, I feel like that's like the database's job, to be honest. So pretty straightforward, I think. Update an existing short URL. So what would you update about it though? Delete an existing short. Yeah. Okay. So it should take the short. I think designing it as that is fine. The short code should be unique. I feel like I should have done the database first, because it helps with writing the service logic. So let's actually maybe do that instead. So let's do the data storage. So I actually don't. I copied this from like a YouTube like service thing. Backend dev go. I think this guy has something that I like to
But it's
use.
here on codes. I like to start on code and then move into the database and start creating the tables, as I'm going to show you with migrations.
So these are the models I think he's making
It
right now.
records the time that the post was updated.
Yes, that's exactly it. Okay. So, okay. The URL storage, and then we create the context. We could obviously return an error. Okay, let's see this. So a URL is basically a type struct with 4 things, an ID of type int64. Let's do obviously the URL of type string, short code of type string. Created it. Of type string. Updated at type string. So yeah.
Status. And for now, that is going to be as well. I think I'm going to add it now. We want to have tags into our posts.
I don't know what that is.
Post, or you could even just return it.
So this one actually is the implementation. So, well, okay, I need to do this as well. The marshalling as well. JSON, to the actual field it is associated with. So you pass in the type of post into the thing. So that makes sense. Okay, so when you create a URLs, right? You pass in the URL here. I guess URL of type URL, and then JSON ID here. JSON URL, JSON shortcode, Another one, JSON created at, oh crap, oops. Oh, this needs to be exported. Okay, so now we have like all of this stuff here, and then he's running some. Oh wait, I need to set up a Postgres driver.
on the column.
How do I do that?
So you can see that's the power of the repository pattern, and I don't have any clue what storage is in here. Okay, so with our storage interface created and all of that, let's take this opportunity to actually write the SQL code and persist our data, because in the next video we are actually going back to this main file and creating the connection pool. So we're gonna connect our loose ends, and I'll teach you how to spin up a Docker container locally so that you can have your Postgres instance running without any hassle. So let's go back to our store and let's go, for example, to the post. Now here we already have the sql.db, and we want to create a post in our database. Now, first, we don't have a database, nor we have a schema to work with. So what I mean by this is that we don't have a signature of what a post might look like. So it's going to be, let's do the same for the sites idle connection. So max idle max here, because remember, internal packages should not know about the external world. So I'm being a bit repetitive here, but the trade-off is worth it in my opinion. So let's open a database connection. So pretty standard. So sql.open, you pass in the driver, so it's going to be Postgres, and then you pass here the address or the connection source name. We're gonna handle the error, which is just going to return it, and the parent is going to handle it. So I'm going to return nil and an error. Now that we have the connection, we need to ping it. And what I mean connection is I mean sql.db. Now we're going to have a connection now because we're going to use that database.ping context. So we're going to pass in contexts. Why we want to pass in the context and what is this ping? Firstly, if you go.
Okay, so he's creating a database connection.
And let's add a DB with a DB config. So what myself, and in the Go community post, or you could even just return it, but I like to, and it's not showing here. I see why I have a typo here. So this is query row context, so my bad on that. And here now we have access to the scan methods. And if you use the scan method, this is going to basically get the returning values from here, and then it's going to apply them to the struct. So what I'm going to do is that the first value I want to scan into is the ID, and then it's going to be the in order, so the created ads, and then you also need the updated ads. Okay, now this returns an error, so you should handle that as well. So let's me just do this. You could even do this in line as well. So if there's an error, I'm going to return an error, else I'm just going to return nil at the end. And so this is the whole code for inserting a new row into the post. So basically we are creating a
Okay, makes sense. Inserting something in the new row. Okay, so that's how he does it. That's kind of interesting. It's a lot of work actually. So okay, he writes a query here. A query here with, and he has context of the thing, and he also has, so s dot, well, that's my problem. We have this URL storage, which just has an instance of that. So when you create an instance of URL storage, you're making a table. No, this is the table. But you have to make like a paradigm for it, and then you write into the actual struct.
Row and
That's my
a
understanding
post
of
and
it.
persisting it into our database. And then at the end, we receive the post created with the ID created that and updated that. So the consumer post is going to be updated. That's why this is a pointer as well. And just one thing, I'm going to change the name of this to post star because I don't like to have two S's like that. It was just a minutiae thing. So that is it. And another thing that I want to say here is, yeah, I'm currently not using any package to handle the...
I'm curious on how he's doing this right now. So we have C internal here. He has the rate limiter. He has the mailer service. And he has the environment.go. He has database.go. So this is the nice part about, you know what? I should probably have this, right? I definitely don't need this though. So this is how he sets up the database. So he sets up a new instance of it. Sets the driver up. If that errors out, yeah. And then inner, how does he use it? In API test.go. Interesting. Auth.go, another entry point that links up with the main that uses all, that actually starts this. Man, this is such a insane setup. Kind of confusing a little bit. I'm trying to make it a little bit simpler. I'll definitely get into the thing, but he creates all the settings here, the mailing app, and he sets it all up in the app, and then boom, he runs the app. Middleware.go, another one. Well, this one's pretty straightforward, I think. This one's all the auth stuff. Again, he imports it from his github.com. Basic auth middleware, so which that returns a function. I feel like a lot of it's a little bit overkill for now at the moment, but I'm just trying to curious how he does the database stuff. So we have our database here. Okay, so we have our database. We have to query. I want a put in basically. When I make a post request, I want to do a dot create here. So let's see how he does that. Let me see that. That was the. He does a basic. Wow. Okay, that actually extended. Well, that's a different function actually. Dot create. Dot update. This is a nice delete function I should probably do. Where's the get? Where's create? Yeah, there it is. So create is essentially creating an instance of the table, right? So okay, so we'll write the query. So insert into well, insert into this is, I guess, URL and where the content, so it's gonna be the URL, the short code. I don't want it to be capital actually. URL short code. Do we need to put created at? Hold on. Also, what did I say to have here? Count. Sure. We'll also have a count here. Well, this is more of an integer actually. We'll do another int64. Created at. My SQL is not the best, so it's not created as count. Probably should have it in order, the most important stuff. So we have the short code, count, URL, yeah. URL, short code, then the count, and then yep, those are the important ones. Then we'll of course put the values. I remember doing this in like a JavaScript. It's kind of similar to JavaScript. Then we'll do put the values 1, 2, 3. It's only 3 for now. Then I want to return the IDs of created at and updated at. Yeah. What is it complaining about? I think it's. Wait, what is it, Corner? Not use. Oh, it's okay. All right, calm down, bro. Then we create a context. Cancel, which would be equal to context dot with timeout with the context passed in and the query timeout, query context passed in, query timeout duration. Probably should add that here. And I should have the Postgres driver. Go mod tidy. Perfect. And then we'll go to our url.go. No, actually urls.storage.go. Let's give it a second. All right, hold on. This is kind of stupid. and defer cancel. Okay, so we'll do defer cancel. This is my problem. I don't know where this is supposed to be coming from. Query. I think this is somewhere exported, maybe in the stores.go. Yeah, these are some constants that he has. I think that's a good place to put them. Constants that he put. Also some time. Yeah. I see. It's some pretty smart way to handle errors. Anyways, so we do that. Now we do time with that, and then well, now we can make the query. Rows error sd dot query context. Yep, we put all that stuff here. Now, what the hell is this fq stuff? Fq dot limit. So the context, the query, the user ID. Oh no, that's the wrong one. That's what I'm saying. Okay, never mind. Never mind. So the create, then we create the. That's what I want to do. So we create the rows. So it's. So first we'll do. Well, there will be an error potentially. We'll do. What's it called? s.db. Or it's more like us.db dot query row. Or context, query row context. And then we'll pass in the context. We'll pass in the query, and then we'll pass in the the actual instance of it. Sure, URL dot. I guess I don't know if I have. We'll do it in order. So URL. I guess more like this. Then the shortcode. Then the count. That should be good enough. Then I do the scan, which writes it into the URL thing. So it's like URL dot ID. Then we do the created at and updated at. If error does not equal nil, return error. We'll handle the parent from there. And everything's successful. We'll just do that, yeah. Okay, so that kind of handles the Postgres stuff here, or mostly. So this is when we create it here, right? I think we can also do another one here. Let's do the delete as well. So it's like basically the same thing here, but select. They'll have access to shortcode, so I have to go by that. So delete from. Actually, it's delete from posts, or not posts, delete from the URL, right, where the shortcode equals the it's actually not this, it's actually the third, I think. What is it? Yes, a third thing. So where shortcode equals that, and put that, and then now we can do obviously the query thing, and then we can now do the different error handling. So we have here, the way we do it is res error s or us.db dot execute. That's what it is. We execute the query. Well, first, before that, I want to pass in the context. So if we ever time out early, we'll do that. And then we actually pass in the URL dot I think I just need to pass. Oh, yeah. I just need to pass in shortcode, which is string. Yeah. Which I'll pass shortcode. I don't really need to have the whole thing. Let's see. Is that right? Exec context. What is the difference between exec context and exec? Exec context is without returning any rows. They argues. Okay. What about this? Query without returning any rows. Wait. Internally still specify the comp. But what is the difference with this then? I guess I don't know. There shouldn't be a res though, right? Oh, we do have a res. Of course that res should be like whether if it's access or not, right? Now we do rows error. Res dot rows affected. Now what does this do here? This is just saying a few things, right? Oh yeah, if error return nil. If rows equals 0. I'm not writing Python. Error not found. So what does it say here? We're saying resource already exists. Okay, I see. So we were trying to delete something that doesn't exist. That's what it basically is saying. Okay. Yeah, basically saying, okay, how many rows were affected? If there's one, that's perfectly fine. If there's any row errors with that, that's also bad too. So we can delete based off the shortcode. Yeah. That's nice. So, yeah. Should we do an update? We'll do an update next time, maybe. I mean, if I feel like it, I'll be able to write it. Get by ID. Sure. We should probably have one. A get by short. Basically, well, I should have it before that. So we'll do a get. A get by short. Yep. So this is select. I'm pretty sure it's pretty the same syntax. I know a little bit of SQL, but it's fine. Select from URL where shortcode equals that thing as well. Well, okay, no. Select, I guess everything. Well, I guess I can specify a bit more. So we do the ID. What is there? URL. Title. not title, shortcode, created at, this was a count, updated at, right, where the showcode equals, well, from post, or from there, where shortcode equals that, yeah. So that, and then we put that, and then I think it's similar this time. So now we do a bit of a different one. So this time we'll have actual an instance of the URL with of type URL, and of course it'll error out. Here's .db.query row context. Of course, we pass in the little timer here, and then we want to write to the, okay, execute the query based off of the short code. And yeah, and then we want to run a .scan that actually writes to our, kind of like, it's like an unmarshalling, but not really, to our URL here. Well, okay, I need to do it on every single field. So .url, dot ID here. Well, actually it's more like this, right? Then we have URL dot, the next is the shortcode. Then it's the, not the shortcode actually, what is next? URL next, yeah. URL, then the shortcode, right? Shortcode, then count, the count, and then the URL dot created at, well, I guess, does that even matter? Yeah, created at, and updated at. Of course, if we ever error out, return error, and then we actually return the actual object, which is the URL. And I do need to update this, an error. So error, well, it's more like this. It's gonna be a URL or an error. In this case, we're actually returning nil and an error, and in this case, we're returning and a URL and nothing here. What I meant is this. So how does that look? Oh, he likes to send the actual the pointer to it. Okay, makes sense. I'll do this, and we need to send and the address of it. Okay, there you go. Okay, there's actually multiple errors to consider. So if the if error error dot is error dot error no rows, that means we couldn't find it, to return something else. Oh, this is the SQL database. Never mind. Squeal database. There you go. Yeah. So that's saying, okay, we're gonna be get by shortcode. And yeah, these are all the database queries that I write for the Euro. Okay, we'll test them out tomorrow. We'll try them out, and then I can fully flush out the yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.